Oh man, I've been, I, as you can see, I'm in a rental car. It's not my usual car, so I'm a little tired. I look a little tired, um, and hopefully I can think straight throughout this video, man. But yeah, this is I think this might be the most controversial or the most crazy topic that's going to like it's gonna be 1,000 people that ride with me on it that agree, and I believe it's gonna be 1,000 people that go. I believe it's gonna be 1,000 people that's gonna, hate me, man, hate me. But as I always say, I just ask that we keep it open minded when watching my videos. Understand that I come from a good place and understand that I stand on what I say, but I'm always willing to have a conversation about things. So to all of my black people, my white people, my Spanish, Asian, all ages, all genders, whatever you identify, I just ask that I'm always willing to have a conversation. If you agree with something or if you don't, let's comment, let's keep it respectful. I believe that disrespect is what got, us not conducting ourselves as adults is like a huge problem, and it's so much of a problem that's why our youth aren't respecting their elderly. They're not holding the door open, they cursing, at the bus stop while somebody's grandma right there, and it's a lack of respect. But I believe it's because we led with disrespect. So if you disagree with something, let's be adult about it, and comment. I'm going to pause a little throughout this video, and I'm going to tell you things like if you want to comment, I'm going to ask questions if you want to comment. Yeah, but let's begin. Like, comment, and subscribe after. I'm going to post more videos on topics like this because we need to have these conversations, even if it's uncomfortable. So put your notifications on my page if you don't mind. If you're a returning viewer, I appreciate that. Enjoy, these conversations, especially commenting and interacting with people that, think alike or even that think different. But I just ask again that we all keep it respectfully. I don't want no man disrespecting no women. And please, women, I don't want no women disrespecting no man. I don't want anybody disrespecting each other. But let's begin, man. This topic is where do I even start, man? I haven't pre-written something, but where do I even start? This topic came into mind, because I've been thinking about this for a while, but especially with this whole Shannon Sharpe situation going on, it has me thinking about like age differences, right? Me personally, at my age, my range is 22 till 22 to like 47. If you know how old I am, 22 to 47 is the age range that I would date. However, Shannon Sharpe, 56, I believe, 56 years old, and was in a situation with a 19-year-old. And speaking from the perspective of we don't know who's guilty and who's not, but just speaking from the perspective of he's talking to a 19-year-old and it is sexual engagement involved, it's been a lot of people that has, like bad things to say about it. And it's just crazy how, like, your perspective of thinking, to tell the truth, I think that a wise person is able to see different perspectives of thinking. And I know a lot of people gonna be like, oh, you taking up for a guy that's like that's messing with his grandpa, a guy that's a grandpa and messing with a lady that's his grandchildren's age. There's been a lot of women that's been saying that. It's been a lot of women that's been saying that. It's crazy because let me say this off the back, right? As a man, we work hard, right? As a man, we're judged in our teenage years by women we want to date, right? We got to work hard in our 20s, at work and at school, or at school, I would say. And also it goes into our 30s, and a lot of us accumulate a lot of debt. And we got to just work really hard just to get the attention, because these girls our age get a lot of attention, when we're young. And it's like they get like thousands of people that that they could go to and everything. And what it does, that's why a lot of men, I'm not really like necessarily talking about me, but like you could say like, I am a man, so we all at some point relate to this a bit. But basically, you spend your 20s and your teenage years, your late teenage years, your 20s and your 30s getting yourself together to where once you finish everything, you get your credit right, you get your health right and whatnot. You get to a point to where like, okay, like I worked real hard for all these for a decade, and it's like you want to be able to do what you want to do, and especially if it's in a within legal terms, right? So one thing that I realized as a man is that there's a lot of women that really believe, and I don't mean to say this disrespectfully, but there's a lot of women that tell men what they can and can't do. There's a lot of women that tell men or believe that they can tell men what they can and what they can't do. Like I have a cousin who I love dearly, but it's not just my cousin, but let's use my cousin for example. I told her I was gonna make this video, and I just want her to read the comments, and see who agree with her, who doesn't agree with her, how women agree with her, how men agree, or how men or women don't agree with her. But my cousin, in regards to this whole Shannon Sharpe situation, said that Shannon Sharpe needs to be at home with a lady his age, taking his blood pressure medication and like rocking on a rocking chair, right? She said that with my cousin is an educated lady who works in a court office, and she's an educated lady. She has a degree. She works in a court office, but she really believes that Shannon Sharpe, his scene is that she believes that people his age, 56, is supposed to be at home taking some kind of medication like blood pressure medication or cholesterol medication and in a rocking chair, right? And it's a lot of women that would agree with her. That's not the first similar kind of scene that I heard a woman say a man that age should be in, right? Not only that, but a lot of women kind of take guys' preference personally, right? They take guys' preference personally. And when you take a guy's preference personally, you make a lot of women tend to like break or bend the definitions and like bend the rules and everything. Like, for example, I'm not the only one that could say that I witnessed this happen, but I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all could say that y'all witness women say that a woman that's 19-year-old is a child. And a lot of them say that that's a baby. Let's think about this logically. Comment if you think a woman that's 19 is a child or a baby. Please comment right now. Like, yes, I think a 19-year-old is a baby, or no, I don't think a 19-year-old is a baby. Comment right now within like this 10 seconds, because I'm gonna say something, but I want you to leave your comment there. So after I say this, it can make you think. Like, don't delete your comment though. And then I'm gonna ask you to comment again after I explain this and see if your mind like changed or something, right? So that's enough time to comment. Like, if you got to pause and comment, please do. But yeah, so look, with that logic, right? A 19-year-old is a baby in a lot of these women's eyes when they see a guy like go for a 19-year-old, right? Like I said, right now in my life, my preference is 22 to like 46. That's kind of like me. I'm kind of in the middle. I'm more towards the 22-year-old, but I'm kind of in the middle of that, and like it depends on where I'm at in life, and that's basically my range. But yeah, let's go back to what I'm saying, right? For those women that's saying that a 19-year-old is a baby, my cousin is a very educated lady. She has a bachelor's, she has a cool job, she works in a court, but she's an educated lady, right? She's an educated woman, educated black woman, as she will put it, and I attest to it. I've been to her graduation and everything, but it's crazy how a woman could get these educations and they let their emotion, or they take everything so personal that they would call a 19-year-old a baby. Because from my understanding and textbook definition, if you will, a baby is an age that's like 0 to 2 or 3 years old. That's literally the definition of a baby. 0 to 2 or 3 years old. Then you get like toddler and then whatnot. A correct definition of a 19-year-old, you could possibly say a young woman. Am I right or am I wrong? Tell me if I'm right or am I wrong. Is a 19-year-old really a baby? Like, really think about textbook definition. Is a 19-year-old a baby? Think about textbook definition. I want to say again, I'm not saying that I would date a 19-year-old or something like that, but I'm just saying, I'm not saying my personal opinion at all on that. I'm just saying that we can't like bend the rules to like control somebody or to make somebody seem like a monster or something because of their preference. Is a 19-year-old a baby? Or is a zero like a newborn to like 3 years old a baby? Now the people saying that, oh, um a 18 year, like let's even say 18, an 18-year-old doesn't even know what they want in life, and say that, okay, people want, like older guys want younger women so they can shape them. And let's use an 18-year-old for example, right? Again, I'm not saying I'm for or against. I'm not vouching for men targeting 18. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying let's think about this with a mature mind, right? So for a woman that say like Shannon Sharpe, for example, going after a 19-year-old, the legal age, if I'm not mistaken, to go to war is 18, right? So the legal age is 18. So would you tell, like, they look at it like, oh, Shannon Sharpe having sexual relations with a 19-year-old, like he's a monster and that should not happen at all, right? Would you tell that to people that recruit these 18-year-olds that go to war and have to go to war with other grown men from different countries? Like, really think about that. I'm not trying to sound disrespectful. I'm not trying to sound weird, but really think about that. Would you tell an 18-year-old that's go to war, like do you have that same energy for 18-year-olds that go to war with other grown men? Like, do you protest against the army and stuff and say like, oh, start recruiting these 18-year-olds to go to war with like grown people from other countries, right? Because if an 18-year-old, let's say young man, I'm gonna use correct terminology and try to be a little politically correct. If you tell an 18-year-old man or even woman that's in the army, that's legally in the army, if they are on combat field, if you will, right, and they come across, whether an 18-year-old man or woman, right, if they come across a 50-year-old soldier from a different country, I guarantee that the idea of it is gonna be like, it's fair game. You gonna say like, oh, that person should have had like training, but it's fair. I guarantee you gonna say it's fair game, and I guarantee you gonna say it's fair game even if you don't, because that's how life is. Our young people in the army, they can't freeze up and say like, oh, I can't go in the battlefield because it's 50-year-olds and I'm 18. No, how it is in the country, they classify 18 as a young adult. I understand young makes a lot of people, like raise eyebrows and feel uncomfortable, but that's still an adult by the law. Your personal opinion isn't law. And let's expand further, right? Let's expand further. Like I said, I didn't get sleep. I did get a little sleep, but I been taking care of car stuff, so I'm not thinking straight. So I'm trying to like say this and make it make sense, right? Let's say this, right? Everybody, look, let me say this, right? And I was gonna start the video off like this. At the age I am right now, I have never smoked before. I have never been high. I have never did any kind of drug. I have never been drunk. I took one small sip of alcohol when I was like in the 10th grade during a family get together, and my mom like stepped on my stomach until I like threw up. But yeah, like I never smoked, I never been drunk, I never did a drug, or anything like that. And throughout my whole life, I have never judged anybody that has ever done any of those. I have never smoked. You could say I never have drank, besides that one small, but I've never been drunk, and I never did drugs, and I never smoked cigarettes. But I don't judge anybody that does that. I don't judge anybody that does that. Now, why am I saying that? I'm not religious, right? Now, why am I saying all of that? I see Muslims, I see Christians, and a lot of people that go to like the masjid, the church. I get that go to the masjid and the church and that are like judging Shannon Sharpe, right? But in y'all religion, doesn't it say that God is the only judge, right? In y'all religion, does it not say that God is the only judge? Let's take it a little further, right? Y'all say that he wants to manipulate, like a older man that gets with a younger woman wants to manipulate that young woman, right? Or shape. That's a favorite word that a lot of people like to say is shape. Let me pause again and say I'm not rooting for men to just target young women. Target what makes sense for you if you got good intentions. So let me pause it because I don't want to get off this video and people interrupt my professional life and say like, oh, he targets. No, I literally told you my age range is 22 to 46. 46 is way older than me, bro. But yeah, like back to what I'm saying, all right? Yeah, my bad. So about judgment, right? I'm not religious. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. But I don't judge, right? But I see a lot of religious people judging him, saying he's a pedophile for going after somebody that's legal. Regardless of how your person feel, 19 is legal. But it's a lot of people placing judgment, right? And they place it's a lot of people places, and even if you're like a little older than a girl, like probably like it's a lot of people that say like, oh, you'll date a 22-year-old and they'll place judgment, right? But let's get back on Shannon Sharpe. Let's not make this about other people, right? But like they place judgment. Now there are some toxic men that do manipulate women, right? That do manipulate and shape them into, like, I guess you could say, non-optimal futures or whatnot, like traumatized. And there are also women, men and women the same age as these people that they date that does the same thing, but with that same shape attitude, right? You guys say that men target younger women because they want to shape them. They want to shape them. Do you guys ever think about this, right? It's a lot of people going to school for careers that are going to put them in $250,000 debt. For those people that aren't math people, $250,000 is $250,000. I know many people that their parents like trusted the school system to shape them, if we're being real, into $250,000 debt and get into these saturated careers that only pay just a little bit above minimum wage, right? And just a little bit above minimum wage. And let's connect what I'm saying right here. Your judgment, you playing God, your sin. I mean, we all sin, right? But you playing God, you disrespecting God so much that you don't even understand that your judge, because it could be good men that could be bad, and it could be good. Just like a woman could shape a man into a better life, Shape could be good, shape could be bad. But when you play the judgment game, you go against God, and when you go against God, you end up doing what you're accusing somebody else to do. Because, like, all right, I believe I'm a good guy, if I'm telling the truth, and I believe that if I get in a relationship, let's say with a 22-year-old, I would want to, just like I want her to like have some influence on me, I want to have some influence on her to where we don't have to, like, I wouldn't judge a girl that drink, but I want to have the kind of influence to, like, where she wouldn't be in her 30s and 40s and have to deal with alcoholic problems. I never seen anybody that was addicted to alcohol or weed get older and not want to get away from it. But I say that to say that I want to have that kind of shape, and she could shape me too, but I'm not saying that I want to shape or control her life. I want to have that kind of influence, is a better word. I want to have that kind of influence to where we'll be healthy, but like not have that leash to her. I want to have the influence to where, like, when she gets in her 30s, she doesn't need me and I don't need her, but we appreciate how we took care of ourselves to where even if we get away from each other, we could attract other good people that take good care of themselves. But I say that to say, like, you guys would judge because it might be some bad guys that shape women in a bad way, but it's a lot of women that judge guys that want to, like, have some influence on women, but you guys never judge the school system that take your 6-year-old child and sometimes 3 or 4-year-old child and shape them into thinking it's okay to be in $250,000 debt by the time they're 30 and just work your whole life paying off that debt. I'm not saying school is bad. That's a topic for another video, because there are careers that don't do that. But more than likely, and you could like I said, pause this video and comment if I'm lying or not. Do you know somebody that's in a lot of debt? Are you personally in a lot of debt? Are you willing to comment the debt amount that it is? This is for statistical analysis and information. But back to the subject. So, do you people that's saying that good people that want to shape or influence people, and we're particularly talking about like men, right? Like if it's a good guy that wants to have a good influence on a girl, like lead, you guys would judge them, but would you guys judge the same school system that you guys trusted to raise your kid basically, and make them depressed in their 30s because they got to pay all this debt out? That's begging Joe Biden and Donald Trump to do debt forgiveness, but you guys went against God by playing God, by judging people so much that your hell on earth was that your kids now have accumulated a lot of debt because you weren't wise enough to understand that there are people that could have influence to lead you, but you teach your child not to. Yeah, if you get what I'm saying, all right? Hopefully you get what I'm saying. Like, I'm basically saying you would trust the school system to lead your little kid into a $250,000 debt, basically shape into thinking that it's okay to be in $250,000 debt and being depressed, and as an adult getting into these mental hospitals and being on medication, and like this increasing suicide rate because the school shaped your kid into a career because you trusted the school system and you didn't have that same energy that the school system would shape your kid into that. Like, you trusted the school system, but you won't trust that there are good guys out there that can shape these women into good situations, right? Now, a few minutes, well, a couple minutes ago, I would say, I told you I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, right? I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs or smoke cigarettes or anything like that. I'm not saying anybody that does other is a bad person. That's what I don't do. But I also said that I don't judge. Key word, right? Now, if there's any, and I don't mean this to like spark like negativity or anything, but I want anybody that's judging me for, like, I'm not taking up for Shannon Sharpe. I'm just saying, like, use your open mind. But if there's anybody that, or even me, right? Like in my personal life, like how I said, I'd be open-minded to a 22-year-old. Is there anybody that has something against that or think that I'm weird? But is there anybody that have like a baby dad that's not involved in your kid's life? And if you could comment, what is the characteristic of your baby dad? Like, does he drink? Does he smoke? Or is he on alcohol? I'm not saying that to attack you. I'm just asking you to comment so we can have these conversations and like my cousin can see this. But I'm asking, is your child's father involved in his life? And also, please answer, did your child's father cheat on you? I've never cheated in my life neither, by the way, but did your child's father cheat on you? Or did he abuse you? I've never abused a woman. Again, I don't want to sound like I'm attacking women at all. I'm just asking this just to help you guys like see, like open your mind, but just comment if you can. Pause and comment what is the situation with you and your baby dad, respectfully. And I'm asking, man, like man and woman, let's keep this peaceful, respectfully in the comment section, and let's have some civil conversations, be open-minded. I was gonna say something else important, right? Oh yeah. So I wanted to say this, man. A lot of men, like I said earlier, as a man, it's hard being a man, bro. You gotta work. You have a role that involves taking care of people, and like Chris Rock say, a man is only loved under the condition that he provides them. But women and children, and that's okay, I'm not complaining, are loved unconditionally, and that's okay. But it's hard being a man already, right? And you mean to tell me we got to take all these risks, risk our life? If somebody robs a place, I'm going to immediately protect the kids and the children and the woman and the elderly. So we got to be the protector. We got to be the provider. We got to prove ourselves. And then like if we come out in our 30s or something with good credit, a good career or something, why do women feel that you guys could tell us who we could and can't talk to, and who we could and or can't be with? And like I said, let's use legal terms, as long as it's legal, right? And I'm not trying to say this to be weird. My age range is 22 to 46, but Shannon Sharpe, I'm pretty like every man, especially like black men, but every man, right? I'm pretty sure he had to go through all of this stuff, get his stuff together, and he got all that stuff accomplished. And why do women feel that they can tell a man what he could and can't do after he went through all of that stuff, all of that stress, and got himself together? Like, why do women feel that they could tell man what they can and can't do? I'm trying to make sure I'm not frowning or anything, even though I'm passionate about this, because I don't want women to think that I'm attacking them. But if I'm being honest, that's a form of bullying. That's a form of like you women are bullying man, bro. Like you women, that's controlling, and like the title says, like a lot of women are controlling over man. I'm not gonna generalize and say all women are, but I'm surprised that I hear a lot of women say like, oh, he's supposed to be like that man worked hard all of his just like a lot of we worked hard all this time, got shitted on at 18, at 17 and shit, went to school, did what we had to do even though we didn't want to fucking do the shit. Excuse my language, I had to curse, right? But we did all of that, then we get to our 30s, our 40s or whatever, and we feel like shit, since we did all of this shit, I want to have, like I want to do what I want to do. Like I did all of this stuff. Like I earned everything that I have, like good credit and all of that. And I still have to, like go out in the world and be a man and risk my life every day. If, for women, kids and children and elderly, like I should be able to do what I want to do as long as it's legal and I'm not hurting anybody. But a lot of women, they crucify men that want to do what they want to do, or they assassinate their characters, even if it's good guys, bro. Like they tell them who they could and can't date. Like my cousin and all of these other women saying that a man's just supposed to get older and be in his 50s just taking his blood pressure medication. That's really the disrespect y'all gonna give to us. Like we only could take blood pressure medication. Like that's really how it is, bro. We only allowed to take blood pressure medication in our 50s and sit in a rocking chair, bro. Like I never drink, and I keep saying that on purpose. I never drink, smoke, or did any drugs in my life. And I say that because another situation, right? I have a coworker that I'm really cool with. I'm not gonna say her name or anything, but she could watch this. She's married though, but if she wasn't married, I would actually, love to be with a woman like that. She's kind to patients. She's a little older though, and that's okay. Like she's in her 40s, I'm just gonna say, and that's older than me, but I'll still like date her or whatnot, right? I would hypothetically date her. She's married. I'm not disrespecting her at all. But I started skating, right? And I try to get people that I really trust and everything involved in skating because it's like a fun leisure activity that keeps you in shape. But like I asked that lady, I was like, yo, we real cool, but I was like, yo, come skating sometimes. And she looked at me like I was crazy. She was like, yo, you skate? I was like, yeah, I skate. Why are you looking at me like that? And she was like, yo, you better be really careful skating. You're going to fall and break your leg or something. Like you could really fall by skating. And like, I respectfully got disappointed that somebody told me that, right? I fall 1,000 times and I get right back up. I fall 1,000 times and I get right back up. And it's probably because I never drank, I never smoked, I never did drugs. So my body is relatively healthy, for a long time. I'm not saying that to brag, but I'm saying to say this. It could be hard getting older after you took care of yourself and thinking people are on the same page. Like I get what she's saying. Like she probably got a lot more to, like she got kids and everything. She probably got a lot more to lose if she gets hurt. Like me, I don't have much responsibility like that, and I'm one of the few that don't drink or anything, right? So I could, like, it's not big of a deal for me to go skating as much as she made it seem. And I can't blame her because a lot of people get older and they like they think that. So like me, as far as like dating, I imagine like if she was single, that would be like a problem because like yeah, that would be a problem. And I say that not to disrespect or put her business out there, but I say that to say, like, there are situations to why a guy might be open to, like me, a 22-year-old. Not saying that I target a 22-year-old, but there are situations why I'd be open to, like, just like I'm open to older if they conversate good. Why I'd be open with a 22-year-old? Because, like, it's stuff that I could do. My body, I don't feel the age that I am. It's stuff that I could do that I feel that if I were to, like if this coworker was, like, single and we dated, I would be not internally happy if I can't go skating with her because she's worried about breaking her hip or something. I hope she don't see this and hate me, bro. I swear to God, I'm not gonna put your name, but if you see this, I respect you and I love you like a good friend. But I'm just using this as an example, and yeah, like, I hope you don't take this personal. Like, I really got love for you. But yeah, hopefully y'all get what I'm saying though, right? In situations why, guys, you know, I feel when you date, and just like how life is, if you limit yourself, if you go by life how life already is, if you don't make a change and if you don't move for yourself, you're gonna be trapped in that whole trap of life. Meaning you're gonna be in that same pattern of life. Like, meaning whatever the divorce rate is, that's gonna be the risk you're gonna have if you trying things the way the whole world is trying. So, like, until we learn to get out of our own way, stop trying to judge people and play God, until we learn to start conversating with people and having an understanding of why people do things that they do, or why people would be open to, like, dating, like, older or younger. Until we start being mature and open-minded, we're going to keep having these conflicts. We're going to keep having these conflicts and these misunderstandings. And the crazy part is that having a conversation and, like, being able to listen and take advice and everything, it makes us better as adults and everything. So I feel that it's in man and woman best interest to sit down and have these conversations, and not from a judgmental point of view. And just understand why people think the way that they do. Hear people out. Just understand that it might be people that are older that have good intentions for women, and even I personally don't think that a guy should target young women for sexual reasons, but it's a lot of, I'm not saying that that's illegal. I feel that people business is people business. As long as they're not forcing or anything, that's what they do. Because it's a lot of, like, people that don't say anything about OnlyFans are protesting against OnlyFans, or these OnlyFans women that's making, I'm not judging them, but they're making $7 billion. And we know that $7 billion ain't coming from those 18-year-old men their age. So it has to be coming from accomplished dudes. So I feel that we pick and choose. I feel that a lot of women do pick and choose. I'm just being direct. And I hope we able to sit down and have a conversation, reevaluate life. That's why I'm making these videos and taking a huge risk on being canceled, because somebody might misinterpret this. But I'm hoping we sit down and we have those conversations and have those uncomfortable conversations and learn people as individuals and respect people as individuals, and stop crucifying people and taking offense because people choose to date people that may not look like us, or being our, even if it is our peers, right? When I was 19 years old or 18 or 22 years old, and I see other 22-year-old women going after accomplished guys that are 35, I never took offense or took it personal. I never judged them or anything. I probably got, I probably got eternally pissed, but I never assassinated the girl's character. I looked at it like people have types, and that's what it is. I think a lot of women need to understand that guys are allowed to have types too, as long as it's within legal grounds. I feel that should be okay. In our morals and ethics, we got to understand that's different. Like, meaning, like, if it's an older guy that want to be in a sexual relationship with a 19-year-old woman, god dang, with a 19-year-old woman, I feel that that's his personal preference. And as long as it's consensual, if it's a consensual relationship, regardless of what it is, I feel that is none of our business. And that's what I want to leave you guys with. Understand nobody has to think like you. Stop bullying guys, women. Stop bullying guys. We tired of being bullied. We work too hard to get these good credit things and everything, and it's still a challenge going out in life. We would love to do things in peace without being bullied or being talked down on, or people going after our careers just for us having preferences or ideas. And most importantly, like, the world needs to learn to mind their own business, dude. Just understand, like, that's, you get far in life minding your own business. Understand that you don't have to be involved in everything. Somebody doesn't have to think the way that you do. You don't have to always get involved. You don't have to always talk about things. You don't always have to, like, get in people, but just mind your own business. And I mean that respectfully. You'll be surprised how many guys that are, I'm giving real honest advice. I'm not trying to say this to be disrespectful, but you'll be surprised the how many guys would get back to respecting women their age, and having, like, better relationships, and like better marriages, if women decide to learn to listen to guys instead of judging them, and like, listen to them, hear what they have to say, and, like, at least see their point of view without telling their friends, like, oh, this guy is this, or this guy is that. Like, just listen to a guy and listen to people in general without judgment, and understand that people don't have to think like you. And if you can't, just mind your own business. Like, that's free and that's easy. That's free and that's easy. This video is getting a little long. I don't want to keep you guys like waiting, but please like, comment, subscribe if you could relate. If you got an opinion, share, put on your notification for my channel. I'd appreciate that. If I should expand more videos on this topic, if I should make more videos, let me know. And God bless everybody, man. Let's keep everything respectful. Let's keep these conversations respectful. Let's hit the comments with an open mind without acting childish, man. I hope we can. But God bless everybody. God bless all my women out there. God bless all my soldiers out there. And yeah, world peace as always. Peace out.